Hi again, everyone, and welcome to today's second live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the southern tip of Vancouver Island in Western Canada. I hope that you're all having a fantastic weekend so far. Students, this class, IELTS Speaking Part 3, about lending and borrowing. We just finished a Speaking Part 2 class 30 minutes ago, and that topic was an object that you had borrowed. IELTS speaking section, part 3 is a continuation of part 2, where the examiner will ask you 5, 6, 7 questions that are connected to the topic of part 2. So when you get a cue card and you have to talk for 1 to 2 minutes about borrowing an object, then in speaking part 3 you will likely have to talk about borrowing and lending items and borrowing and lending in society. Again, welcome to our newest members. We had a few more new members join today, this morning for me. Jashamal, Alfred, nice to have you here. Hopefully I see you volunteer in the class as well for speaking. Harman, Fuang, Alex, Jagrup, Flower, Jaskaran, Shiso, Sujan, Ali, Ranjit, Harvinder. Nice to see all of you. Isa, nice to see our members. It's fantastic. Okay. All right. Akril, I see that you attempted volunteering before. Do it again. You'll get there. I choose different people all the time. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. General IELTS, visit us there. The websites are the tools and materials for these live classes. They are the companions to these live classes. We use our websites in these live classes to make our classes more fun, interactive, more efficient. Join our website. It's one-time payment, lifetime access. You click that big red button. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's really worth your investment, as I keep telling everybody. We are an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified agent. I have done the IELTS exam, and I have trained thousands and thousands, maybe millions of students to improve their band scores. So cool, dude. Good luck on your speaking test tomorrow. All right. General IELTS, same idea. This website here. And again, all you need to do is just click that big red button that's above my head. It's a one-time payment. Those websites, again, are aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gltshelp.com for general IELTS. If you have questions, students, don't be shy. Send me an email. Adrian@aehelp.com. And also our schedules, you will see it on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. We have one class tomorrow, but that class is not on YouTube. That class is on Lighthall, which is a great platform. It's free. It's for live teaching. There it is. I put the link in the chat, so check that out. It's this link right here. Lighthall is a great platform for live learning, whether it's English or engineering software. Check it out. Fantastic. Those guys are awesome. They really are. They've got an excellent model and an excellent platform. You can video chat with your teachers. So we'll do a class there tomorrow. That will be a little bit earlier than this class, an hour earlier than this class, hour and a half earlier than this class. And then we'll have more classes on YouTube starting up on the 15th with Speaking Part 1. So subscribe, hit that bell button, get notifications, know when these live IELTS classes are happening. Next week we will have a Discord class as well for all you gamers out there using Discord. IELTS Prep. All right. New video on our channel. It's a speaking video. It's first person. So again, if you know your first person shooter games, if you want to have the exam experience, that's kind of a simulation, like a simulator, check out that video that I just put into the chat. It's our latest video. It is fantastic. It's great for practice. All right, IELTS speaking part 3. These questions, everyone, are again connected to speaking part 2. What was speaking part 2 that we practiced today? So the question was, talk about an item that you borrowed. This is again about borrowing and lending, right? One of our volunteers talked about borrowing a book. Another volunteer, Baljit, talked about borrowing a cricket bat. What did we talk about? Masala says we talked about borrowing an umbrella on a rainy day. Flower agrees. Fuang says we borrowed the umbrella from Tim. We did. Fuang, that's right. So we borrowed an umbrella from Tim on a rainy day. Yeah, and we talked about that. Remember this for part 2. Okay, so the examiner says that is the end of part 2. Put your note paper to the side, turn it over, put your pencil to the side. I'm taking back the questions, and now we will continue with part 3. Let's talk about borrowing and lending. And then they start you off. They say, when is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one, students. And again, remember, think about your part 2. Because there are definitely lots of situations where it's better to borrow than to buy, or it's at least a good idea. Okay, so if I think about the umbrella, right? Remember I said I borrowed the umbrella from Tim late on Friday night at 9 p.m. Okay, so it's a good idea to borrow an item like an umbrella when it is urgent and it's not possible to buy it. I could not have bought an umbrella late Friday night when it was raining. Also, when a person only needs the item for a short time, like a lab coat for chemistry class, or if they do not have enough money to buy it, like a car to get to an exam on time, right? Okay, so those are just some quick answers that came to my mind, and I'm connecting to part 2, right? So repeat after me, everyone. We're going to do lots of repetition work in this class. You're going to learn new vocabulary, Band 8, Band 9 vocabulary, great English, and I am going to really push to enable you to speak better, with better vocabulary, grammar, and just improve overall communication. So make sure you repeat and copy what I say, okay? Here we go. When is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it? It's a good idea to borrow an item like an umbrella when it is urgent and it's not possible to buy it. I could not have bought an umbrella late Friday night when it was raining. Also, when a person only needs the item for a short time, like a lab coat for chemistry class, or if they do not have enough money to buy it, like a car to get to an exam on time. Okay. Okay, Romelia says, Spring my mind the idea of borrowing for a wedding. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, which is a matter of costume and the object get meaningful. Romelia, it sounds like a riddle. Do not sound like a riddle on the exam. Riddle means like a guessing game. It's big, it's blue, it's red and round. It's not up, it's not down, but it's inside and out. What is it? Romelia, don't force idioms, especially when you're not using it correctly, like spring my mind the idea. Okay. So let me make this bigger. Okay. So the correct expression is springs to my mind. Okay. The thought of borrowing instead of buying in an urgent situation springs to my mind. That would be a correct way to use that expression. Never ever in the real IELTS exam, never ever use an expression or an idiom where you are not 100% sure that you are using it correctly in context. Never ever force an idiom because they become very confusing. You lose the meaning, especially if they're incorrect, and your band score will go. So never, never, ever force idioms. However, in practice, like right now, Romelia, yeah, absolutely. Spring my mind the idea. Springs to my mind the idea of, okay? Or sprang to my mind, or springs to my mind, okay? All right, be careful. Chayan Kip, cats and dogs was a very good example in the last class of when you can use an idiom where it's correct and it's easy because it makes sense. We're talking about borrowing an umbrella and there's a lot of rain, so it's raining cats and dogs. That was a very good example of when it fits in the context and it's well used. Okay, all right, good. Anahita, let's see what you're telling us right now. Anahita says, it is better to borrow properties. It is better to borrow objects. Properties is not okay in this context like that. It is better to borrow objects when the object or items, to avoid repetition, but you don't need it. Okay, Anahita? It is better to borrow when the object... don't overcomplicate, Anahita. When the object people need is expensive or does not have the value that it should be purchased. Okay, what do you mean by that? I always borrow my mom's iPhone to watch videos because I can't afford one at this time. Okay, all right. Do not overcomplicate, Anahita. Never overcomplicate. Instead of making your answer complicated, give a clear explanation and an example. Okay. Ulia says, I firmly believe that it would be better to borrow items in urgent situations rather than buying them for the reason that it saves both money and time, and it's needed. Domenico says it's a good idea to borrow certain items from friends when it's necessary, like a book for preparing for an important examination that you cannot afford at the moment. Domenico, no you. Why am I suddenly sitting the exam? Why am I suddenly borrowing that book? No you. Okay? That the person cannot buy at that moment. The person or the student. Student is even better, Domenico. Okay, students, don't use the word you. Okay, I'm looking at the chat right now. When you're answering questions in the speaking, do not use you. I keep reminding you of this. There's a reason. The word you makes conversation confusing and it's not accurate. So it's a good idea to borrow certain items from friends when it is necessary, like a book for preparing for an important examination, such as IELTS. Since you're doing it, right? Might as well use it as an example, such as IELTS. That the student can't buy at that moment. Much better. Okay. Better use of nouns. Okay. Can you give an example? Sure. I borrowed my friend's IELTS book last week to do some practice tests so that I could get a nice high score. And this way, I didn't have to search for it or spend the money unnecessarily. Yeah, lovely. Okay. So, this is what we're going to practice. We're doing lots of volunteering today. Okay, I'm going to dedicate most of today's class to volunteering, strategy, and practice for everybody. Okay. So to volunteer for speaking, students, you want to register an account on our website because that's where we use the speaking interface. Go to your My Student account. Click on Student Partner Speaking. Let your microphone use the website. And then send me a message. You'll see me as master. It'll be a blue envelope and just write, I want to volunteer. Let me show you step by step. So go to aehelp.com. Okay, this is the website, aehelp.com again. And then click the Join Now button, this big red button that's just above my head there. If you want to get the premium package, great idea. We use the website all the time. I'm sometimes surprised when, somebody who has the money and hasn't joined yet but watches the live classes day after day. If you're doing that, spend a few dollars, right? Click the green button if you don't have the money and if you just want to use it for free. And then you will have a My Student account. In your My Student account, you want to click this blue button right there. By the way, students, if you want to have a full IELTS speaking interview with me, you can click this yellow button and book a lesson. And if you see this button in your country, then you can book your at-home IELTS test. It's a new test. Like, for example, people in Australia can do this. You can book your IELTS test through the website. If you don't see the button, it's because they don't have the online at-home version of the IELTS test yet in your country. But they're building that very fast, so more and more countries have it. Okay? All right. So right now, we are going to click on Student Partner Speaking, accept. And now we're in this lovely interface. Look at all those students. All right. So we have, looking at the bottom of the list, we have Romelia, we have Alfred, Anahita, Mahji, Abused, we have Chayani, Unboxing, Baljit, Sarah, and lots more. Don't call me, students. Just use the blue envelope. Okay, blue envelope. To send me a message, say I want to volunteer. And I know that there were lots of us last time. Amra, I'm not sure if you're in this class, but I remember I said, that if you're here, I will look for you. And Alfred, I also remember telling you that I'll be looking for you. Alfred, okay, are you ready? Alfred is one of our newest members of our YouTube channel. So Alfred, are you there? Now, I'm going to put on my ears so I can hear you better. Oh, What happened, Alfred? It's like you picked up and then you hung up. Maybe you hit the wrong button. Let me call you again. Hit the green button, not the red one. Green button. All right, Alfred. Hello, Alfred.
Hello, yes.
Ah, there you are, my good man. How are
Yeah.
you?
Hello.
Where are you calling from, Alfred?
I'm from Tangerang, Indonesia.
Indonesia. All right. Alfred, make sure to mute YouTube. So listen to me through the website, not YouTube. Alfred, why are you taking the IELTS test? What's your reason for IELTS?
Oh, wait. So I need to mute the YouTube first because it's like double.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You want to you want to mute YouTube, just click on the little speaker so you don't hear me through YouTube, especially because
Okay.
YouTube, there's always like a 5-second delay, so it's very annoying. So mute YouTube
Okay.
and then just listen through the website. It's much better experience, okay?
All right. Could you please repeat again the
Yeah,
question?
why are you taking IELTS? What's your reason for the IELTS exam?
I have planned to uh, immigrate someday to Australia, so that's why I'm trying to prepare myself.
That's great. Yeah. Okay, I will help you with that goal by asking you some part 3 questions. And I know you were in the last class too, which is fantastic. So you heard about the umbrella situation, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about borrowing and lending. When is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it?
It's a good idea to borrow an item when you have uh, like in an emergency situation. For example, uh, I remember I borrowed some money from my friend when it was the time when uh, I forgot to bring my wallet, and then yeah, at the time uh, we went to a party, and then
Have
um
lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before?
sorry,
Have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before?
custom change.
Yeah, have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before?
Custom change. Sorry, I have no idea about that. Custom
What are
change.
good policies to follow when lending expensive objects to friends or family?
Oh, what are good policies for? What are good policies to follow? When? Sorry, I have no idea about that.
Let's talk about favors. What are some common situations where people ask for favors from each other?
It was when they didn't have something that they need at the time, so they need to borrow that item from their friends or the family members who have it at the time.
Okay, good. Great. All right. So your band score, Alfred, for these part 3. Now, part 3 is the hardest part of the IELTS speaking interview. So no need to panic if you can't answer all the questions. And you did a good job on that. So you're like, oh, what are these questions? What is he asking? I don't know. But you didn't freak out. You weren't. I'm glad you didn't leave. Okay, I'm glad you didn't just hang up and run away. So Alfred, that's the right attitude. Okay, as you hang in there and you wait for the next question. You don't scream. You don't cry. You don't run away. You don't get all tense and or anything like that. You just stay calm. You wait for the next question. You do your best, okay? And that's what you did. So that was very good that you stayed focused. You stayed calm. That was good. It's common that people don't understand one or two questions in part 3 accurately. Okay, I'll tell you a good strategy next time so that if this happens, you can do even better. Okay, let me just go back and give you a bit of feedback. So the reason you got 5 is because there were some problems with fluency. There were some problems with the accuracy of the answers, but your grammar and your clarity, your pronunciation, those were all quite good. Okay, so I can clearly understand what you're saying. Okay, so I said, when is it a good idea to borrow an item instead of buying it? And you said it's a good idea to borrow an item when you have like an emergency situation. Okay, Alfred, remember this. Don't use you. Okay, I keep repeating this suggestion, but don't use you because now you're talking about the examiner. You don't want to talk about the examiner. You want to talk about people or you want to talk about yourself. Okay, so it's a good idea to borrow an item when a person has an emergency. Okay. Has an emergency. And then you said, for example. Don't use for example. And not in the IELTS. Okay? Unless they ask you. If the examiner says, can you give me an example? Then you can say, yes, for example. Okay, but if the examiner does not ask you, do not say for example, because when candidates say for example, they usually go into like a really long story and the examiner doesn't have time for that. They have to get to the next question, so they will interrupt you. And that's exactly what happened to you. You said, for example, and then you said, I remember I borrowed some money from my friend when it was time that I forgot to bring my wallet. And then you kept going and going and going. And I was like, okay, I have to stop you. So I'm like, boom, I interrupt. And then I go to the next. And it's not because I'm mean. It's because the examiner has to ask at least 4 questions, I think, from every candidate. So they have to interrupt you to get to the next question. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, is it for the general topic at the time? Like just explain in general, not specific.
Not really. So you don't want your answer to be too general because those don't get the best scores. They are looking for unique vocabulary and original answers. So for like band 7 or band 8, the examiner wants original answers and wants good vocabulary. So if your answer is very general, then it's hard to get that. So all you have to do here is just remove the for example. Okay, so you just take that out and you just give the example. So I remember I borrowed some money from my friend when I forgot my wallet. Okay, simplify your language.
All right. So don't need to put that, for example.
No, because when your example
okay.
is accurate, then it makes sense without it. Okay, so when I forgot my wallet and I had to buy a bus ticket. Okay, so here's the simpler but better version of your answer. Just repeat after me, and this repetition is for everybody who's watching. Okay, so it's good to borrow an item when a person has an emergency situation. I remember I borrowed some money from my friend when I forgot my wallet and I had to buy a bus ticket. Okay, go for it. Just repeat that same answer.
Yep. So it's a good idea to borrow an item when a person has an emergency situation. I remember I borrowed some money from my friend when I forgot my wallet and I had to buy a bus ticket.
Okay. See how it's just much more accurate and direct, and there's no, like, I'm not going to interrupt you because it's just clearly one idea.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So that's what you want to focus on. Now, when you don't understand a question, and, I think a lot of people have this situation. So I asked you, have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before? And then you said sorry, and then kind of got stuck. Okay, if you don't understand the question, like you're like, no idea, right? Then your very first step is you should say, I didn't catch that. Can you please repeat the question? Okay, so can you just repeat after me? And this is for everybody. I didn't catch that. Can you please repeat your question? Just repeat me, Alfred. I didn't catch that. Can you please repeat your question?
I didn't catch that. Can you please repeat your question?
And most examiners will repeat the question. They will say, have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before? Now, you got stuck on this word customs. Customs means like traditions.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, don't get stuck on one word. Just because you don't understand one word in the question doesn't mean that you don't understand the question. Okay, as long as you're calm, and when I repeat the question, instead of focusing on the word that you don't understand, so customs, focus on the words that you do understand. Okay, that's a very important trick here. Okay, so focus on the words that you do understand instead of the words that you don't. Okay? So don't focus on the word customs. Instead, focus on the words have lending and borrowing changed since a generation before. Even if I take out the word customs, you can figure out this sentence. So have lending and borrowing changed since a generation before? Yes, it has. People 30 years ago used to lend and borrow objects much, much more. I know my mom told me that she always borrowed food and other objects from the neighbor. Now people don't do that as much. Okay, so you don't have to understand every single word in a question necessarily to be able to answer it. Keep that in mind. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Alfred. Practice, practice, practice. Right? You're a member of the channel now. You've taken the right step. I strongly recommend signing up for the website as well, practicing, and then doing lots of volunteering in these classes. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, Alfred. I will do my best to help you reach your goal to get to Australia. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for volunteering, Alfred. Keep it up. All right, that was Alfred. Give Alfred a thumbs up. That was his first time volunteering, and I know it's a bit intense at the beginning. Okay. Let's see. Who do we have? Masala says, hi, sir. I fixed my microphone. Please give me a chance. Okay, let's try it, Masala. Are you ready? We've got lots of time, students, lots of time for volunteers. So thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Yeah, that was pretty intense for, Masala's like, oh, first time volunteering, part 3 questions. Yeah, it's a tough start. Okay, Masala, let's try this again. Here we go. Hi, Masala.
Hello, sir.
You definitely fixed your microphone. Good job.
Yes, sir. I don't know how to fix the microphone. That I help to other people in chat, so they.
You have to make sure that you've got the right microphone selected and you enabled it for the site. But I'm happy you did that, Masala. And you're also one of our members for a while now, which is great. What country are you in, Masala?
So I am from western part of the India.
Western part of India. And I find your name interesting that you're using like unboxing. Masala, do you do unboxing videos on YouTube?
Yes, a couple of years ago, I uploaded some videos.
What kind of items are you unboxing?
Some electronic items like phones or mixers.
Okay. What was your favorite item to unbox so far?
It's definitely phone because I am very excited when any new phones launch, and I always search new functions and updates.
Okay. Do you keep everything you unbox or do you take them back to the store sometimes?
No, no, no. I keep all, or I give that my friends.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Let's focus on some IELTS questions here. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's talk about borrowing and lending. Have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before?
Definitely, it has been changed in several ways over the past centuries. Like people nowadays avoided to lend objects from their relatives and friends as they can able to buy their necessities in own money, and it and besides that, they it's also affects on their social status and images, which become shameful situations for them.
What are good policies to follow when lending expensive objects to friends or family?
The one better scheme for lending expensive objects is the trust, because follow people because friends and relatives are
Can there be any negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
yes, sometimes it has been much negative results to lending expensive items, like it some chances to that item was has been broken or stolen from or stolen to or stolen, and also like I I lent my expensive watch to my friend Rohan, who broke my watch from who broke up my watch in two pieces, and it was very bad for my because it was very lucky for me.
Okay. So, all right, great effort. That was good, Masala. I'm so happy to hear a lot of our members volunteering now that I haven't heard before, like Alfred and you. It's great. And this is what you need to do. Practice, practice, practice. The feeling I get when I'm talking to you, Masala, is you have a lot of ideas in your head. There's like a jungle of words and ideas, and they're all fighting to get out through your mouth into the world.
Yes.
And they get stuck. It's like a lot of people trying to go through a little door, and they're getting stuck, and sometimes the right ideas coming out, sometimes the wrong ideas coming out, sometimes no ideas coming out because they're all stuck.
and
So
and I'm very nervous. It was my first time.
yeah, and that's of course the other big part is confidence and being nervous. And the way to gain confidence, the number one way to gain confidence is through practice, is through just doing it, right? The more we practice, the more confident we become. That's with everything in life, in these kinds of situations. So you're taking the right step, Masala, and that's great, right? Probably the first time you were unboxing an item, you were kind of nervous about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And then the more you started unboxing, the better you got, the more confident. And it's the same here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, yeah, it's about a band five. You got stuck. You didn't finish your answers, so you're losing a lot of marks for fluency and coherence. Your grammar range and accuracy. Your grammar range was actually about a 7, but your accuracy was about a 4, 5, because you were mixing up your grammar. You're overcorrecting. Okay, so you're worrying so much about how you're saying it that you correct yourself again and again and again and again. And by the end, it's just really confusing. So don't worry so much about correcting. Sometimes you said it correctly and then you corrected yourself and it was the wrong way. So don't overcorrect. Just kind of say it, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. So I asked you, have lending and borrowing customs changed since a generation before? And you said definitely it has been changed. It's simpler than that. It's not passive, it's active. So definitely it has changed. It changes actively. It has changed in several ways over the past, not centuries, because it's a generation before. So over the past decades, not centuries, but decades. Okay, one generation, it's 20, 30 years at most, so it's not a century. And then you said because people's ability to buy has changed. Yeah, and I kind of got what you were saying, but you needed to say it a bit clearer. So because people's ability to buy what they need has changed. Yeah, good use of the present perfect, by the way, or attempt for it. And people, and I liked this part, I think it was very clever. You can say, and people are very concerned about their social status and image. Yeah, so I know what you mean, but you have to explain it, right? What you're telling me is when people borrow from others, they think that they are poor, right? In the past, we used to borrow from each other and it was totally okay. Now, if somebody says, hey, can I borrow your bike? It's like, what, you don't have enough money to buy your own bike, right? So that's kind of changed a bit, right? So you have
Yes, sir.
you have to explain that, okay? You have to say, so every person wants to buy what they need so they do not feel embarrassed. Okay. Just repeat
It's
after me. So every person wants to buy what they need so they do not feel embarrassed.
every person wants to buy what they need, so they do not feel embarrassed. Embarrassed.
Yeah, and that's what you were trying to say, I think, there, and that was really good. Okay, so don't worry so much about how you're saying it. Just say it. Just think answer, explanation, example, and lots of practice, Masala. This is what you need. And make sure to come back to these live classes, but also use this part of the website, and it's totally free to use, and speak to other people. So if you see Ranjan here or Dilip or Ananta, send them a message and say, hey, can you practice with me some questions? And at the top of the website here, these are links that you can use to open up questions. See, these are speaking questions right there for you, and there's lots of them. So use those and use the speaking interface with other students as well, okay?
Okay, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Masala, thanks so much, and I'll check out maybe some of your videos. I'll look at some of your unboxings, see what's going on and what's worth buying, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye, Masala. All right, that was Masala, one of our members. It's very good. Yeah. So nervousness, it's okay. You get rid of that by practicing. That's exactly what Masala was doing. And not stressing. Okay. Let's see who else we have here. All right. Gunkai. Are you ready? And thank you again for the thumbs up, everybody. Support is so important, okay? And yeah, talk to each other. So this interface is for everyone to use with everyone. It's not just for speaking with me by any means, okay? So we want to encourage students to talk to each other, learn from each other, okay? If you're looking for a study partner, this is the place. Gunkai, are you there? Sounds like you picked up, but I don't hear. No, you're not audible, Gunkai. I don't hear you. So either your microphone setting on your computer, your connection, or your permission on the website or on your computer. One of those. Okay, you need to check those. All right. While you troubleshoot that, Gunkai, I'm going to find somebody else. All right. And then go ahead and troubleshoot it, figure it out. Once you feel like, okay, I got this, try it with another person. So send Yash or somebody a message and then try it out and then come back, okay? All right, we'll talk soon. Okay. Let's see, who else do we have? Sunantha. Are you ready? We've got lots of time. Students, hang in there. Okay. And I know, Sunantha, that you have volunteered before, so you should be able to connect. If you're still there, let me know. Give me a sign. Students, there's about a 5-second delay in time between YouTube and real time. So make sure to mute YouTube and use the website audio, okay? When we're speaking. Only when we're speaking. Obviously. Oh, Sarah, sorry. It's not you. I'm trying to call Sunantha. Just a sec. Sorry about that, Sarah. Here we go.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Sunantha. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Sunantha, any big plans for the weekend?
I don't have any plan for the weekend. I just plan for preparation for IELTS test
Is your IELTS test soon?
in November.
Oh, okay. So you're being very studious. You've got a bit of time, but yeah, it's an important plan. And what is your plan? Like how? So what is your study plan for the weekend for IELTS? What do you plan to do?
I plan to practice writing 4 modules. I plan to practice listening past for an hour and reading past an hour and watching your video 1 or 2 videos and practice writing skill.
Sounds like a good plan. I definitely like the part where you're watching my videos. No, I had to say that.
Yes,
No.
because I'm a premium member. Yes, I watched your video around 10 videos since I have been premium members. It's very useful for me. I got a lot of tricks from your videos, and yeah, and I want to thanks about your help. That discount 20%. Even I forgot to use coupon.
You're very welcome, Sunantha, and I promise everybody that's listening, I did not pay Sunantha to say this. So I had to say that, Sunantha. Sunantha, I'm really happy that you have a good study plan. One really important suggestion for your study plan, and this is for everybody, okay? When you're doing the listening, when you're doing the reading and the writing, it's very, very important that you check your mistakes you make corrections, and then you re-listen, you reread, you rewrite the essay. Okay, a lot of students, Sunantha, when they're practicing, they just do the listening once, and then they're like, oh, okay, I got a score of 10 out of 20, whatever, I forget about it, and then I go to another listening, and it's a completely new topic. That's not a good idea, okay? You always want to take extra time, extra steps to check your mistakes, correct your mistakes, and then redo that part of the IELTS when you're practicing, okay? So make sure to do that while you're practicing on the weekend, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right, let's do a couple of part 3 questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Can there be any negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
Yeah, sometimes negative lending valuable item that we sometimes I borrowed the computer notebook from my sister that I forgot some and I lost some item like a mouse, and I cannot I have to buy a new one to return her. Sometimes she didn't feel good when I lost some item.
Let's talk about favors. What are some common situations where people ask for favors from each other?
The favorite item that when I ask to borrow someone, I think it's okay. Can I review my answer again?
Sure.
Okay. The situation. Okay, the common situation that when we ask favorite item from others, that's the hard situation to reject because someone very close to, and the favorite item like cars is very expensive and lead situation to broke or get some accident, and I don't like to share some expensive item like car or some private item like lipstick, and I'm not I think it should be polite to ask something
Okay.
from others.
Let's stop there for now, and I'll give you some feedback. All right, Sunantha. So I love how you're confident, you're talking, you're being fluent. That's great. That is absolutely the first step to improving language and becoming good in English, is just exactly what you're doing. Just talk, okay? At the same time, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're speaking correctly. So once you're confident like you are, and once you're talking lots, then you want to focus on correcting mistakes. And you definitely have some mistakes in your grammar, in your word choice, that make it a little bit difficult and awkward at times to understand what you're saying. So your band score is about a 5-ish, okay? So I think most examiners would score you at about a band 5. And in order to get to a band 6, you have to speak clearer, more accurately, not more fluently. Your fluency is fine. You're speaking continuously, but you have to speak more clearly. Okay. So make sure to record yourself when you're practicing. Record. If you're practicing with somebody, ask them if it's okay to record the conversation. And then listen to it. Check your grammar. You have to...
I know my weakness is grammar.
Yeah. So you have to do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, so that the correct grammar is ingrained in your thinking. Okay, it's fixed in your mind. And visit grammar rules. So look at your grammar book and look at subject, verb, object, or subject, auxiliary verb, have, past participle. So review all of your grammar rules. Okay. Let's take
Okay.
a look at your answer here. So I asked you, can there be negative outcomes to lending valuable items? You said, yeah, it's sometimes negative lending about valuable items. Yeah, you have a lot of missing prepositions and articles and kind of mixed up subject, verb, objects. So yeah, sometimes there are negative outcomes. I think you realize, Sunantha, that using the question is a good idea, and this is very important for you. Okay, use the question, use it directly. Yeah, sometimes there are negative outcomes to lending valuable items. Okay, just use the full question. And you realized a couple of times, and that was very smart, that you should just give an example to make it clear. Okay. You got a little bit confused. You said that, we, that, I. So you want to be, just more direct. I borrowed a computer notebook from my sister and I lost some item. Just be more direct. And I lost the mouse. My sister got angry and I had to buy a new one. Okay. My sister got angry and I had to buy her a new mouse. She hasn't lent me her computer since then. Okay, so simplify your thoughts, simplify your grammar, use the full question to start your answer so that you're accurate, at least in the beginning. Okay, as long as you have good accuracy in the beginning, you might be able to get a higher score. Okay. I'm going to repeat this answer and then copy after me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes there are negative outcomes to lending valuable items. I borrowed a computer notebook from my sister and I lost the mouse. My sister got angry and I had to buy her a new mouse. She hasn't lent me her computer since then. Can there be negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
Yeah, sometimes there are negative outcomes to lending valuable items. I borrowed a computer notebook from my sister and lost the mouse. My sister got angry and I had to buy a new one. And she hasn't lent me her computer since then.
Okay, much better. So that's what you want to practice, Sunantha, just correcting the English and then practicing lots of correct English, okay?
Okay.
All right, so lots of feedback, lots of correction, okay?
Okay.
All right, Sunantha, you're welcome. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Sunantha. Very nice. Okay. Let's take somebody else. Let's take Sarah. I accidentally tried calling you Sarah, so now if I don't call you, you're going to be angry, right? Are you ready? Jumping over to Europe, France. From Asia. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey.
Did my phone call surprise you there when I accidentally called you instead of Sunantha? Were you like, whoa, what's going on?
I was looking if there's anyone having the same name as yours, because I'm watching like from my laptop and I'm watching you like calling another person and I saw like you were calling me, so I was, maybe this is another student.
Nope. I think the system, I'm not sure, but I think the system only accepts one name of the same, I think. So, all right. Well, Sarah, are you ready for some questions about lending and borrowing?
Yeah, I wish.
All right, let's do it. So here we go. Can there be negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
For sure, there are numerous negative consequences for lending. If people lend, can I say it again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Yes.
Can there be
Thank you.
negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
Yes. For sure, there are numerous negative consequences when people lend their expensive items or their valuable objects, they might be lost from the borrower, and their objects would be returned damaged. My dad last week lent his car to his friend, and he returned it after crashing it into a wall.
All right. I'm just going to stop there and give you feedback on that one particular answer to make it just awesome. I think it was great. We want to make it awesome. And I want to give you a tip right away because Sunantha did the same as you. Sorry. And there's a better way to do this. So both of you both of you asked me, can I say it again? You can't really ask questions from the examiner because the examiners are told by IELTS that you can't interact with the candidate except for the questions on the page. So if you ask the examiner, can I say it again? Technically, they're not even allowed to say like, yes, you are. So they kind of just look at you weird. So instead of asking, can I say it again? And Sunantha, if you're listening, you did the same. In the real IELTS, just say it instead of asking it. So instead of saying, can I say that again? You want to say, let me say that again. Or let me start that again. Okay, and then you just start. You don't when you do it this way, you don't have to wait for any kind of response. You just start it again. So if I'm like, for sure there are let me start that again. For sure there are numerous negative consequences when people lend their expensive items. You see, so you just like in your own language, you don't ask for permission, you just do it. You just restart yourself. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah,
It does.
Okay.
It does.
And then the examiner won't interrupt you. In fact, they'll probably give you marks. Like they'll probably say, okay, this student is a very good or expert at English because they're able to correct themselves and naturally restart when they make a mistake. So it's a positive. Okay. So, but of course, don't do it for every question. Like you wouldn't want to say, let me restart that again for every question. That would become very weird. So for sure, there are numerous negative consequences when people lend their expensive items. They might be lost for the borrowers. That was a little bit off in the grammar. So
I meant from the borrowers.
By the borrowers, but even easier,
Yes.
the borrowers may lose them, or they can be damaged. Now, and then you said my dad lent his car. I hope that didn't really happen. His car to his friend. It did happen.
Yeah.
Ugh. I hope the friend paid.
He does.
Okay, he did.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And he crashed it into a wall. Okay. Sure. Now, you know, you've answered this question. We've had a couple people answer this question. I'm surprised that nobody thought about this strategy when answering this question. So I think every person so far who answered this question, there were 3 or 4 of us who answered this question, talked about, you know, borrowing an expensive item like a computer or like a car. And there is a very good strategy that any of you could have used here to make this a better answer, but nobody did. Do you know what I'm thinking about here, Sarah? You attend these classes regularly, so you probably know this.
Not actually.
No idea? Numbers.
No.
Numbers are always your friend when you're communicating with another person. When we're talking about expensive items, for me, it seems intuitive, it seems natural to think about the value of the item, so how much it's actually worth, right? Like, let's say that Sunantha lost her sister's mouse, and that was a special mouse for gaming or for graphic design, and it's like a $200 mouse. It's not just a regular old $10 cheap mouse, right? Let's say that the friend who crashed your dad's car, he didn't just scratch the paint, it wasn't like a $50 buff job, but he, you know, really did some damage and caused, you know, $10,000 or euros worth of damage, right? So you want to mention that, right? And it makes it so much stronger, like, oh, geez, right? So my dad lent his car to his friend and his friend crashed it into a wall. It cost my dad 5,000 euros to get it fixed. And that really brings the answer to that next level. Do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try it with these corrections. So here we go. For sure, there are numerous negative consequences when people lend their expensive items. The borrowers may lose them or they can damage them. My dad lent his car to his friend and his friend crashed it into a wall. It cost my dad 5,000 euros to get it fixed. Okay, can there
For
be
sure,
any...
there are.
Sorry, I'll just ask the question one more time. Can there be negative outcomes to lending valuable items?
For sure, there are numerous negative consequences when people lend their expensive items. The borrowers may lose them, or damage them. My dad lent his car to his friend, and his friend crashed it into a wall. It cost my dad 5,000 euros to get it fixed.
Right? Much better. So it makes it that 7.5 to that 9. That's the difference. Those small corrections and that more specific emphasis with that detail, those numbers. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. But you're definitely on the right track, Sarah. You're definitely on the right track for getting a really nice high score. So good job. Keep it up. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Sarah.
Bye-bye. Take care. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. All right. That was Sarah. All right, everyone. So that's what you're focusing on. Okay. Don't forget numbers. It's easy to forget the use of numbers when we're communicating, but numbers are the universal language. So English is the global language. Math is the universal language. Put the two together and you've got some great communication. Somebody should put that on my tombstone when I pass on one of these days. All right, so let's try somebody else. Let's see, who should we pick here from the list? I don't know if we've heard from Ritik in a while or at all, so let's see if Ritik is available. Okay, Ritik, are you ready? All right, we've got a bit more time. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Good thumbs up there for Sarah. That was a great effort by Sarah. Maria, I see that you're in here. Maria, please volunteer if you have the chance and if you have the right connection, right? Ritik, if you're still here, let me know. If not, it's all good. All right, no answer from Ritik. So let's jump to Abba Seed. All right, first time volunteering. Yeah, let's take a first timer. Abba said, are you ready? If you're there. Oh, Abba said's quick to respond. All right. Abba said, pick up the phone.
Hello?
Hi, Abba said. There you are. How are you?
I'm very fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Abba said. Where are you calling from?
Somewhere in the Middle East, Adrian.
Somewhere in the Middle East. A land far, far away, right?
Actually, I'm from Africa, but I live and work in Dubai.
Okay, so you live and work in Dubai, but you're originally from Africa. What country in Africa?
Nigeria, to be specific.
Nigeria. I've met a lot of great people from Nigeria. When I lived in Japan, I met some people from Nigeria at that time. They were buying cars in Japan and they were exporting them to Nigeria. That was the kind of trade that they were doing. All right, Abosid, and why are you doing IELTS?
Well, I'm trying to meet the immigration requirements to travel to Canada to seek greener pastures.
To seek greener pastures. All right. Well, let me help you with that mission, Abosid. I'm happy that you volunteered, and definitely it's a good step to volunteer and build your confidence in your English skills. Are you ready for a couple of questions?
I am.
Okay, let's do this. All right. So let's talk about favors. What are some common situations where people ask for favors from each other?
Mm, I think the first set of situation that would come to mind is when the person they're asking the favor from has the requisite skill, has the competence, or has the financial financial ability to fulfill their requirements. For instance, when you are in a particular situation where you don't really have the know-how to get things done, you ask someone for a favor to help you fill the void.
It is often said that when people perform good deeds, they can expect good deeds in return. Is this always true?
I I beg to disagree. This isn't always the case. Hello, Adrian, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. I beg to disagree. This isn't always the case. I've seen people that have done a lot more, and life did not reward us in the same capacity that they've done to others. And I've seen people that are very, very should I use the word um, thrift with what they have, and gone wi- they've gone all out to exceed in whatever endeavors that they are doing. So I think sometimes there's a higher deity in there that just goes on to reward people, or whether or not they do a particular deed.
Okay. Well, your vocabulary is definitely a band 9. No question about that, and you're able to use it, which is really nice. Um, Fantastic. I don't even know how to spell that word. Oh, there it is, like that. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So I think that you easily reach the band 8 level, which is very good because if you are applying for a PR visa to Canada, especially an express visa, then you want to get a band 8 in your speaking. Okay. So your goal should be a band 8. And you're definitely very close to that band 8 mark. 7.5, 8.5, depending on the examiner, but I think you'll get a band 8. First of all, you understand the question clearly. I think a couple students didn't really understand this question. What are common situations where people ask for favors? You clearly understood this question. So it's when a person goes to another person and says, hey, can you help me? I need a favor, right? And you started kind of slow because you were thinking about the answer, which was good. That was clever. It was good that you didn't just start talking without knowing what you're going to say. So you're like, well, and then you said, I think the first set of situations that come to mind, really nice paraphrasing, that come to mind, good expression, come to mind, think about, is when a person that they're asking the favor from has the skills, competence is the know-how, so the ability, right, or financial ability to fulfill the requirements. For instance, when you don't have the know-how, avoid the word you. Okay, I think this is the third time I said this in this class, but don't use the word you. Use the word people instead. Okay, so for instance, when people
Okay.
don't have the know-how, they ask someone to fill the void. That was good. Be specific, okay? So you can just jump into a favor, okay? And avoid the word for instance. It's like saying, for example, the examiner might interrupt you. So you can just say, when people don't have the know-how, they ask someone to fill the void. I asked my friend to fix my car because I did not know how to replace the alternator, for instance, right? So that's how you push that to a band 9, okay? Let me just do a little bit of repetition here, so copy after me, and then you'll feel that small but important difference, okay? So I think the first set of situations that come to mind is when a person they are asking the favor from has the skills, competence, or financial ability to fulfill the requirements. When people don't have the know-how, they ask someone to fill the void. I asked my friend to fix my car because I did not know how to replace the alternator. Okay, so what are some situations where people ask for favors from each other?
Okay, are you asking me, Adrian?
I want you to just repeat what I said. So just repeat
okay.
with the corrections in the example.
Okay. I think the first set of situations that come to mind is when the person that they are asking the favor from has the skills, competence, or financial ability to fulfill their requirements. When people don't have the know-how, they ask someone to fill the void. I asked my friend to fix my car because I did not know how to replace the alternator.
Much better. So in order for you to get even higher, so to go from band 8 to band 9, you want to focus on two important points. One, to make your speaking more concise. So say what you're saying, but with even less words. Use your good vocabulary, but even less words. And remember to include that smooth, quick example to emphasize your point. Okay? All right. I asked you the question. It is often said that when people perform good deeds, they can expect good deeds in return. And you said, I beg to disagree. That's a very nice expression, a very nice natural use of that language. And then you said, this isn't always the case. That was, again, a very nice natural use of the language. Really good use of grammar. You said, I've seen people that have done lots of good and life hasn't rewarded them. That was very good. And then you started to explain more and more, and I started to lose you a little bit. So careful not to over-explain, okay?
Actually, Adrian, I'll be honest with you. I've done the IELTS twice, and it is 7.5 on both occasions. So I'm trying to get the 8, and it's a drag, a big drag.
What did you get in your speaking?
Speaking, I got 7, 3 times.
Okay.
7.5, then 7 twice, then 7.5 one time.
Okay. Yeah. So I think 7 is a little bit on the low end. I'm not sure what happened with your part 2 and your part 1. There could be, my feeling is maybe something in part 2 is a bit off. So you'd have to try a full speaking interview with me to understand why you got a 7. 7's low. 7.5 I can see. So 7. So I could be half off, but it could be something in part 2 for that. So your speaking is definitely strong. If you got a low mark in your writing and your reading, then focus more attention to those parts. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Abba, I hope that you fulfill your ambition. I'm sure you will. I think you're a smart guy. I'm sure you'll get there. Make sure to keep coming back and keep practicing, okay?
Thank you very much, Adrian.
You're most welcome, Abba. Have a great rest of your day in Dubai. Bye. That was Abba. Nice. That was great. All right. Fantastic. Students, I'm going to stop there for today. I want you to practice with each other. There are so many students in here now, and just because I'm ending this class doesn't mean that you have to stop practicing. Reach out to each other. Practice with each other. We're using this website here, which is aehelp.com, and you can click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package that's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment. We don't ask for a lot. We try to make it available to as many people as possible. We're an IDP registration center, British Council IDP partners. I'm a certified agent, so you're in great hands with us. This website is designed for you to succeed, and you succeed through practice. So that's what you should be doing. Okay, and I will be back tomorrow also. So I know a lot of you are like, oh, it's his last day, but it's not. It's not my last day for this week. I will have another class tomorrow, and it's a free class, and it's for everybody, but it's not on YouTube, okay? It's not on YouTube, all right? I'll show you where it is. It's on Light Hall, okay? Use this link. I'm going to put it into the chat. Use this link to register for this class. It's free registration, okay? It's in Light Hall. Light Hall is a platform that's made for live teaching. So it's great for anybody who likes to learn online. You can join that one, sir, by clicking that link that I just put into the chat, and then sign up for the class, and you're off to the races. Okay, so free light hall speaking class tomorrow. If you have questions, then send me an email. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. Okay, you don't, yeah, you can see the .com there. .com there. And again, students, visit our websites. That's a great place to start for your IELTS. aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. It was fantastic having all of you here with me today, and I hope to see you all tomorrow in the Light Hall class as well. Wherever you are in the world right now, I send you much love, and I wish you an awesome rest of the week. And I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada for now. Bye.